Hey guys, it's Doc here. On Wednesday, it's time for our weekly comic book review. So I just wanted to go over what I read and what I thought about it. And we are actually in the cellar here in Bartlett, Tennessee. My friend Jason was kind enough to let me video in his shop. I'm just kind of doing a roundabout place, all these different places that I shop at so that you guys get an idea of what we have here in the Memphis area. Anyway, I wanted to start with Ultimate Spider-Man #2 by Jonathan Hickman and Marco Checchetto. And this is really, really good stuff. This is the Spider-Man book that you should be reading if you try to introduce your kids to Spider-Man, if you try to get them excited about comic books. This should be the Spider-Man book that you should be reading. And that really hurts my feelings to say that because I have collected Amazing Spider-Man for longer than time immemorial. But this story has got heart. The artwork is top notch. And it starts off by Peter Parker and Mary Jane and his daughter all sitting at the breakfast table and they're talking. And Spidey has got this black suit that he goes out in. And his little girl was telling him that she saw that on TV the other day and it scared her. And she didn't really know what to think about this new vigilante that was on the news. And she thought that it was somebody to be afraid of. So Peter Parker's thinking to himself, how am I gonna get my little girl to not be afraid of something that I am? And so he's swinging around the city and he runs up on the ultimate version of the Shocker. And I'm not gonna tell you how that ends, but it's his first shot at being a superhero. And it doesn't go as planned. But as he's sitting at home, then his daughter comes to find out, and this is a spoiler, so fast forward the video a few seconds if you don't want to know this. His daughter finds him sitting at home munching food in the suit. So she puts two and two together and realizes that Dad is this new scary guy on the TV. But he sits down with her and explains to her there's nothing to be afraid of. I'm trying to do good things. I'm trying to do positive things. So you needn't be afraid of this guy when you see him in the news. But like I said, it's just a really good book with excellent art, excellent writing, setting up a brand new universe that I think we can all enjoy as time goes on. Secondly, I've got The Walking Dead Deluxe #83 here. This is the issue where they're still working on getting the zombies out of Alexandria. This is still written by Robert Kirkman with art by Charlie Adlard. And the only difference between this and the original book is this is presented in glorious Technicolor. So if you've never read The Walking Dead, these books run at $3.99 a piece, and they come out every 2 weeks, and they're going to go through the entire 193 issue run of The Walking Dead. So if you hadn't had a chance to jump on, I think they're actually doing these in trades as well. So it would be a good time to jump on because this is one of the more exciting storylines before we get to the big issue 100. Speaking of anniversary issues, we have Spawn #350, and it is written by Rory McConville with some additional writing by Todd McFarlane, and the art is done by Brett Booth and Carlo Barberi. And if you guys can remember, I seem to remember way back in the day that Carlo Barberi got into the industry because he won a artist contest from Wizard. Does anybody else remember that? But he's apparently been the artist on Spawn for about the past 4 years. And now Brett Booth is going to jump over from Gunslinger, where he's been for the past 2.5, 3 years, and become the main artist on Spawn. And Barberi is going to go over to Gunslinger, so they're just kind of doing a swap. This is a story that they said is 32 years in the making. In issue 100, Spawn killed his nemesis, Malebolgia, which was supposed to be the devil, and the Throne of Hell has sat empty for the past 250 issues. It is filled in this issue, and it is not Spawn, I will tell you that. But it's a really interesting story with amazing artwork, fast-paced, super fast-paced, and it actually came in at only $4.99. And on the back cover, it shows the next issue, 351, and then Todd is still holding the line at $2.99. So really good, excellent series. I was just telling Jason a few minutes ago, I seem to be picking this up at the anniversary issues, so 300, 325, 350, that sort of thing, and I always scratch my head saying, I wonder why I'm lost. Well, I might actually start picking this book up each and every month, and then slowly go back and read the trades of the omnibus and things like that to get caught up on everything that happened before. I also picked up Blasphemous Issue 1 from Distillery. Distillery has been doing some really interesting books. They're tending to push the limit of, not necessarily morality, but they're tending to push the limit of what a comic book is known to be. Okay? It's bigger format. You can see how much larger it is than Spawn right there. So it's a bigger format book than a regular monthly book. And most of these have been 3-issue miniseries. But it tells the story of a girl who was found by this religious organization or sect, and she is raised up to superstar. And she claims to have this perfect life, and it goes along a lot with secular religion, the difference between going to church and that church family, and then the true religion. Because those two things are totally different. You can have religion inside of you without ever stepping foot in a church, and then the church, just like a business, just like anywhere else, has got its ups and its downs. It's got its politics. So there's plenty of political intrigue, if you want to call it that, in this book. I don't know that I'm going to continue on with this book. It is a really tightly paced book with writing by Mirka Andolfo. And she actually did the story, the art, and the colors. So it's got a bright palette. It really jumps out at you, especially with the bigger format. But it makes you question not your faith, but it makes you question all the ins and outs and the politics of that faith. And you have to do some deep thinking and do a deep dive on why religion, no matter what religion, is to you, what it means to you, why you feel that certain way about that religion, and why you hold dear what you hold dear from that religion, why you choose it. Religion is out there in many forms, both good and evil, and it's kind of like choosing where you're going to go eat. You might eat at McDonald's today, you might eat at Wendy's today, you might eat anywhere in between. But that choice is yours, and you have to choose that faith based on what you see as right and wrong about that faith. Now, I'm not here to preach to you. That's not what I'm here to do. But we're merely just talking about comics, and I just really think there's a lot of these pages that just pop to you. So it is an exciting story, and it's brand new. So if you want to read something different, check this out. But if you want to stick with superheroes, if you want to stick with something that doesn't make you think, doesn't make you wonder about your own thoughts about life, about religion, about faith, then probably this book is not for you. And the one book that I've picked up that I have not yet read is Ronin, Book 2, Issue 6. It's the finale of the miniseries by Frank Miller. Philip Tan has been doing the artwork, the pencils, and Daniel Henriques has been doing the inks. But it looks like Frank kind of took the book back at the last issue, so it's created, written, and drawn by Frank Miller, and inks and tones by Daniel Henriques. And so this is Frank Miller in all of his Sin City style glory, and it's big, it's bombastic, it pops out of the page at you, and you have to do a lot of double takes sometimes. You're like, is that the same character? Is that a different character? But just like I always say about John Romita Jr., Frank's storytelling is spot on. You could take all of the dialogue out of this book, and then for 99% follow exactly what's going on. That's what I love about this medium, is how strong it is and how much potential you can get out of each and every issue, whether it's Frank Miller, who's been doing books for years, or Mirka Andolfo's books for Distillery, or the Todd Father, who's been doing what he does since '92 with Spawn. So really looking forward to this book. I actually had to come over here to Jason's shop to pick this one up because they were shorted at other shops that I shop at. But if you like Frank Miller, this is probably, from what I have been told and what I can see on the solicits, probably one of the last books that Frank Miller Presents will do for the time being. I don't see anything else on the solicitations or the spotlight ready to come up. So if you like Frank, go ahead and give him your business. All right. And another thing that I picked up that I don't know if a lot of people remember was, it was called Wednesday Comics by DC. They did these a while back and they were actually folded. I've got them in these bags because they'll fold out like a newspaper, like newsprint. It was actually printed on newsprint. And it was a 12-issue miniseries with different characters. We're talking about Batman, Commandy, Superman. We got Deadman in there, Green Lantern, and Metamorpho. And it was pretty big, writers and artists. We had Brian Azzarello and Eduardo Rizzo on Batman. We had Dave Gibbons and Ryan Sook on Commandy. And they did these to just kind of be a throwback to the comics that a lot of people used to pick up back in the day. Or if you picked up a Sunday paper, you would read the comics in the Sunday paper. And that's where a lot of kids got Little Nemo from. That's where they got Crazy Cat from. That was the beginnings of comics before they were printed and put in book form. That's where you would get your funnies. You would get your comics from there. So, but I managed to pick up out of the dollar bin every issue except for 1, 2, and 3. And so it was a nice little stack of them. And like I said, they all came in bags and boards. And that is what I have picked up this week. I should have 1 or 2 books coming in the mail in the next week or 2, but for right now, that's everything I've got. Let me know what you picked up this week. Let me know what you're reading. Let me know what you're dropping. Let me know, what you thought about Blasphemous. Let me know what you thought about Wednesday's comics. Just give me some comments. Give me a like and subscribe if you hadn't already. Thanks for watching the video, and I got a few more videos to come.